Were the sacred texts of ancient Egypt truly a gateway to the realm of the dead? Or did they contain encrypted messages, hiding the true nature of the human soul? We are here to uncover the secrets that ancient civilizations kept from us. Egypt's ancient wisdom holds esoteric teachings that, for centuries, were accessible only to the chosen few. But how do these mysterious teachings align with the core doctrines of Gnosticism? Join us as we unravel the dark and hidden knowledge contained in these ancient writings. I've noticed that some of you are still not subscribed. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. After watching the video, like and comment to share your thoughts. Now, let's dive into our topic. The mystical wisdom of ancient Egypt was built upon the concepts of the afterlife and the enlightenment of the soul. Gnosticism, on the other hand, viewed the physical world as an illusion and sought the liberation of the soul. Could there be a deep connection between these two teachings? Did the priests of ancient Egypt already possess the hidden knowledge that Gnostic sages sought? Now, let's go even deeper and explore these mysteries. Let's unlock the dust-covered doors. If you're ready, let's begin. Did the mystical teachings of ancient Egypt contain profound secrets that shaped not only the destiny of the pharaohs, but all of humanity? Why were these teachings reserved only for the chosen priests? In ancient Egypt, spiritual wisdom was considered too sacred for ordinary people to access. These teachings were passed down only to initiated priests and kept hidden deep within the sacred temples. Egyptian priests taught the evolution of the soul and its journey after death, basing their wisdom on three great divine figures. Thoth, the god of wisdom and writing, guiding the soul in understanding cosmic truths. Osiris, the god of death and rebirth, the divine judge of souls. Ra, the sun god, the symbol of cosmic light and spiritual enlightenment. Could the mythology of these gods actually be esoteric symbols representing the descent and ascent of the soul? The esoteric principles of Egyptian mysticism. Egyptian esotericism was founded on an ancient principle that would later become the core of Hermetic philosophy: the harmony between the macrocosm and the microcosm. According to this teaching, the human body was a microcosmic reflection of the universe. The soul had to transcend the material world to reach the divine light. Those who failed to achieve this ascension remained trapped in the physical realm. Were the origins of Hermetic principles truly hidden within the temples of Egypt? The Book of the Dead and the Journey of the Soul After Death. The Book of the Dead was, in essence, a guide to the soul's journey after death. Egypt's great pharaohs and initiated priests used these texts as a roadmap for the afterlife, the judgment of the soul before Osiris. The soul had to undergo a great trial, where its heart was weighed against the feather of Maat. If the heart was heavy with sin, it was devoured by the chaos beast Amit. Kaaba and Ak, the three aspects of the soul. The Egyptians believed that the soul had three distinct aspects: Kaf, the life force that continued to exist even after physical death; Bark, the individual consciousness that journeyed beyond death; Ak, the highest divine state of the soul, reaching the light of the gods. Was the Book of the Dead merely a myth, or did it encode a conscious process of spiritual transformation? The hidden teachings of the Egyptian temples. Esoteric teachings in ancient Egypt were kept secret from the common people and reserved for temple priests. Only those who underwent initiation rituals could gain access to this wisdom. Pyramid texts and the path to divine light. Were the hieroglyphs within the pyramids merely descriptions of a deceased pharaoh's journey to the afterlife? Or were they symbolic representations of the soul's enlightenment process? The secrets within the pyramids. Was the Great Pyramid actually designed as a chamber for spiritual ascension? Did these mysteries belong solely to the ancient priests? We have now explored a brief summary of ancient Egyptian mysticism. Now, let us delve into a summary of Gnosticism. Is the real world the physical realm we see? Or is the reality we live in merely an illusion designed to keep us away from the truth? Gnosticism is one of the most enigmatic philosophies of the ancient world. It teaches that in order for the soul to be liberated, one must awaken from the false reality and discover the hidden knowledge. Gnosis. But why was this knowledge kept secret? And how did the esoteric teachings of ancient Egypt influence Gnostic thought? What is Gnosticism? Gnosticism holds that the material world is a prison, and that only those who attain spiritual knowledge can escape this illusion. According to the Gnostics, the physical realm is part of a false order designed to prevent humans from accessing the ultimate truth. The material world is a false prison. According to Gnostic texts, the human soul is a divine spark trapped in matter. True freedom lies in transcending this illusion and reaching the spiritual realm. Connection to Plato's world of forms. In Plato's philosophy, the world perceived through the senses is merely a collection of shadows. True reality exists in the world of abstract forms. Gnostics shared a similar belief. The world of the senses was an illusion, while the spiritual realm was the only true reality. One could only awaken by acquiring gnosis, or hidden knowledge. Gnosticism branched into different sects, each developing its own esoteric teachings. Sethian Gnosticism believed that the descendants of Seth, the third son of Adam, were the ones capable of attaining truth. Valentinian Gnosticism emphasized the duality of good and evil and taught that the soul originated from a divine plan. Hermetic Gnosticism integrated teachings of Thoth and Hermetic wisdom. What was the common goal of these sects? To transcend the darkness of the world and reach divine truth. Gnostic cosmology and the concept of God. According to Gnostics, the creator God described in traditional religions was not the true God. Demiurge, the false creator God, in Gnostic texts. The Demiurge is the entity that created the physical world, but it is not the true God. He is the ruler of the material realm, but he lacks divine wisdom. The Demiurge keeps human souls imprisoned within the physical world. The true God exists beyond this physical universe. Hidden knowledge, gnosis, and the path to liberation for Gnostics. Salvation did not come from an external authority, but from one's own inner wisdom. To uncover the truth beyond this world, one had to attain gnosis. Gnosis is the knowledge that liberates the soul from the chains of false creation. The soul's journey to truth, according to Gnostic beliefs. The soul progresses through the following stages to achieve liberation. State of sleep. The soul is lost within the illusions of the physical world. Awakening. Through glimpses of hidden knowledge, the soul begins to recognize its prison. Enlightenment. The soul attains gnosis and transcends the material world, ascending to the divine realm. How similar is this process to the spiritual journey of ancient Egypt? Now that we have gained some insight into Gnosticism, let's explore how ancient Egypt influenced Gnostic beliefs. Are you ready? Let's begin. Throughout history, different cultures have sought to understand the nature of the soul, the journey of enlightenment, and divine knowledge. Ancient Egypt and Gnosticism are two of the most profound and mysterious traditions in this regard. So, what are the similarities and commonalities between these two teachings? How does the Egyptian concept of the soul's journey after death relate to the Gnostic doctrine of salvation? What did the Egyptians and the Gnostics believe about the separation of soul and body? was divine knowledge reserved only for the chosen few. Now, let's compare these mystical traditions step by step. 1. The liberation of the soul and enlightenment. Both traditions maintained that the ultimate goal of the soul was to escape the physical world and reach the divine. However, they described this journey in different ways. Ancient Egyptians. The judgment of the soul after death. According to ancient Egyptian beliefs, after death, the soul would stand before Osiris and be judged. The soul would undergo the weighing of the heart ritual from the Book of the Dead. If the heart was lighter than the feather of Maat, the soul was accepted into Osiris's kingdom. If it was impure, it was devoured and ceased to exist. Thus, freedom of the soul was only possible through death and divine approval. Gnostics. The soul's escape from the prison of the material world. In Gnosticism, the soul was seen as trapped in the material world and could only escape by attaining the truth gnosis. Jesus and other spiritual teachers aim to show humanity how to transcend this world. Rather than standing before Osiris, the Gnostic soul sought to transcend material illusion and reunite with the true God. Both traditions believed in a process of judgment or knowledge that determined the ultimate fate of the soul. 2. The separation of matter and spirit. Ancient Egyptians. The body is temporary. The soul is eternal. Ancient Egyptians divided the soul into Be, personality, and Ka, vital energy. The body was perishable, but Ka was eternal and could achieve immortality. This is why mummification was crucial. The soul was, in some way, still connected to the body. Gnostics' matter is an illusion. Only the spiritual is real for the Gnostics. The material world was an illusion. The physical body was a prison, and they rejected the idea of bodily resurrection. True salvation was only possible when the soul escaped this false world and returned to its divine source. The key difference is that Egyptians saw the soul as still linked to the body, while Gnostics viewed the body as unnecessary and insignificant. 3. Attaining divine knowledge. Gnosis. Both traditions believe that secret wisdom was reserved only for the initiated. Ancient Egyptians, priests, and the initiated. In ancient Egypt, sacred wisdom was not accessible to the general public. Priests transmitted secret knowledge only to those who underwent certain rituals and initiations. Texts such as pyramid inscriptions and the Book of the Dead contained wisdom that only select individuals could comprehend. Gnostics. Accessing hidden truth. In Gnostic teachings, truth was not for everyone, only for those who were spiritually awakened. Meditation, inner exploration, and enlightenment were necessary to reach divine knowledge. Instead of relying on institutionalized religious teachings, Gnostics emphasized direct mystical experience. Thus, both traditions held that truth was too sacred to be widely available and was reserved for a chosen few. 4. Concept of God and cosmology. Although their descriptions of the divine varied, they shared some common ideas. Ancient Egyptians. The gods determined the soul's fate. Egyptians believed that gods such as Ra, Osiris, and Thoth governed the universe. The destiny of the soul after death was in the hands of these deities. While evil souls were devoured by Ammit, pure souls were accepted into Osiris's kingdom. Gnostics. The Demiurge is a false god, and the soul must reach the true God. In Gnostic teachings, the creator of the material world was the Demiurge, a false god. The true God existed beyond the physical universe, independent of all known creation. The soul's mission was to transcend the Demiurge's illusion and reunite with the real divine source. Here, the most significant difference emerges. Egyptians viewed gods as spiritual guides, while Gnostics believed the god of the material world was a deceiver. Conclusion: are ancient Egyptian and Gnostic teachings truly connected? There are strong parallels between ancient Egyptian spirituality and Gnostic teachings. Both focus on the salvation of the soul. Both recognize that matter is temporary. Both teach that sacred wisdom is only for the chosen. Both assert that the soul must ultimately reach the divine source. However, the greatest difference lies in their concept of God. Egyptians saw gods as guides of the soul's journey. Gnostics believed the god of the material world was a deceiver. But what does this knowledge mean in the modern world? How do today's esoteric movements and spiritual teachings draw inspiration from these ancient traditions? Imagine walking through the dark corridors of a temple. On the walls, scenes carved in hieroglyphs tell the story of Osiris, his death and rebirth. But is this story exclusive to ancient Egypt? Or was it reinterpreted centuries later by the Gnostics? Although Gnosticism is often associated with Greek philosophy, its roots stretch much further back, to the mystical teachings of ancient Egypt. So, how did the spiritual wisdom of ancient Egypt shape Gnostic thought? The connection between the birth of Gnosticism and ancient Egypt. Why were the Nag Hammadi scriptures found in Egypt? In 1945, the discovery of Gnostic manuscripts in the Nag Hammadi region of Egypt raised a fundamental question. Why were these texts buried in this particular land? Could it be that Gnostic thought itself was shaped within Egypt? The Nag Hammadi texts share striking similarities with ancient Egyptian mystical traditions. The idea that the material world is an illusory prison. The belief that the soul must attain enlightenment after death. The concept that secret knowledge, gnosis, is revealed only to initiates. The Hermetic tradition, Hermes Trismegistus and Egyptian influence. Hermeticism played a significant role in the development of Gnosticism. Hermes Trismegistus, a fusion of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian wisdom deity Thoth, became a central figure in esoteric traditions. Hermetic texts, much like Gnostic teachings, emphasize the liberation of the soul from the material world. One of the most famous Hermetic writings, the Emerald Tablet, introduces the principle, as above, so below. This concept mirrors the Gnostic understanding of the cosmos. The fusion of Egyptian esotericism and Gnosticism in Alexandria. The spiritual teachings of ancient Egypt converged with Greek, Jewish, and Gnostic traditions in cosmopolitan cities like Alexandria. Hermetic philosophers, Gnostics, and Jewish mystics blended these traditions into a new esoteric synthesis. In particular, Valentinian Gnosticism absorbed Egyptian, spiritual enlightenment concepts into its teachings. But this synthesis wasn't merely theoretical, it was reinforced through mystical experiences and sacred rituals. The result, Gnosticism took shape within Alexandria's rich intellectual environment. Gnostic Christianity and Egyptian cults. Before the rise of Christianity, Egyptian religious traditions already upheld strong beliefs in the immortality of the soul and the transmission of divine wisdom. Did the Gnostic view of Jesus as a spiritual savior originate from Osiris mythology? Osiris, a deity who was killed and resurrected, shares significant parallels with the Gnostic understanding of Christ. To the Gnostics, Jesus was not a being of the material world, but a purely spiritual entity. This idea closely resembles the Egyptian myth of Osiris, death, and resurrection. The link between the Egyptian Seth cult and Gnostic Sethianism. Sethian Gnosticism taught that only a select few could attain spiritual knowledge. Similarly, the Egyptian Seth cult viewed Seth as a figure representing both chaos and wisdom. While the Egyptians saw Seth as a dual force of destruction and transformation, the Gnostics embraced him as a symbol of the struggle between darkness and divine enlightenment. All these connections suggest that Gnostic thought was deeply influenced by ancient Egypt's mystical traditions. Gnostic and Egyptian teachings in modern esotericism. Are these ancient teachings merely relics of the past? Or do they still shape today's hidden spiritual traditions? Masonic traditions and Egyptian influence. Freemasonry incorporates Egyptian initiation wisdom into its symbols and rituals. Hierarchical structures, death and rebirth ceremonies, and secret teachings all reflect the fusion of Egyptian mysticism and Gnostic thought. Gnostic, Egyptian synthesis in New Age spiritual movements. Contemporary spiritual movements continue to merge Gnostic ideas with ancient Egyptian mysticism. From Thoth's emerald tablets to Hermetic principles, these teachings remain alive in modern meditation practices and energy work. Even today, spiritual seekers integrate the Gnostic doctrine of Know Thyself with the Egyptian Book of the Dead's concept of the soul's journey. So, what do these teachings truly mean for humanity today? Is the striking resemblance between ancient Egyptian mysticism and Gnostic teachings merely a coincidence? Or could it be the continuation of a hidden knowledge passed down through the ages? Perhaps Egyptian priests and Gnostic teachers were expressing the same esoteric truth in different ways. Enlightenment after death, the illusion of matter, and the soul's quest for ultimate reality. Could all these teachings be part of humanity's inner journey of self-discovery? What do you think? Were the Gnostics and ancient Egyptians following the same ancient wisdom? Could esoteric teachings have been deliberately hidden? Does this ancient wisdom still have something to teach us today? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into mystical and esoteric topics. Remember, on your quest for truth, let your inner light guide the way.